Every offseason, NBA teams are making countless moves and decisions through the draft, free agency, and trade market to improve their team for the upcoming season. Sometimes, some teams make all the right moves during the summer, setting their franchise up for long-term success. And sometimes, all the moves you thought were valid set your franchise back to the Stone Age. Not every offseason decision turns out well or has a desired outcome, so today, we're going to look at the 10 worst offseason moves that were made in the past 10 years in the NBA. Across free agent signings, draft picks, and offseason trades, I will give you guys my 10 most controversial NBA offseason moves as we take a look at some of the most franchise-altering decisions. Leave a like on the video, and be sure to subscribe as well. With that being said, let's get right into our first worst offseason move, the Denver Nuggets trading Donovan Mitchell to the Utah Jazz on draft night. In the 2017 draft, the Nuggets owned the 13th pick and selected Donovan Mitchell, who was an explosive combo guard out of Louisville University. But before Mitchell could even shake Adam Silver's hand on draft night, the Nuggets had already traded Mitchell to the Utah Jazz for Trey Lyles and the 24th pick in the same draft, who ended up being Tyler Lydon. Instead of pairing a rookie Mitchell with a future two-time MVP in Nikola Jokic and creating a young backcourt duo with Jamal Murray, the Nuggets passed on that and had to settle for Lydon, who only played 2 seasons in the NBA, and Trey Lyles, who only played 2 seasons in Denver. D. Mitch is already a 3-time All-Star and one of the best players in the NBA today. Coming at number 2, we have the Memphis Grizzlies signing Chandler Parsons. In one of the worst contracts in NBA history, the Grizzlies in 2016 gave Chandler Parsons a 4-year, $98 million contract just after his 2-year stint in Dallas, where he looked promising. Now I love Chandler Parsons. He had his best days as a Houston Rocket in his first 3 years in the league, but the Grizzlies giving him $98 million was questionable because Parsons wasn't an elite all-star player by any means, and his numbers in Dallas didn't warrant such a hefty contract. And it would get worse with his consistent knee injuries that would plague his career in Memphis. Parsons would average 7 points per game, 2 rebounds per game, and around 2 assists per game, playing a total of 93 games in 3 years in Memphis, would be traded to Atlanta in the final year of his contract. Though my guy has stopped playing in the NBA, he still got a major bag at the end of the day. At number 3, we have the Brooklyn Nets trading their entire future for Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Jason Terry. The Nets in 2013 wanted to compete immediately going into the next season and believed adding Hall of Famers like Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce to their team with Brook Lopez, Joe Johnson, and Deron Williams would make them de facto title contenders. But to get KG and Paul Pierce, they'd have to leverage their draft assets to do so. In desperation, the Nets would trade 5 players, none of them noteworthy, and 4 first-round picks and receive a 37-year-old Kevin Garnett, a 36-year-old Paul Pierce, a 36-year-old Jason Terry, and DJ White. Though the Nets had the team that they wanted, they would lose in the playoffs in the following season to the Miami Heat in the second round, Pierce would walk in free agency, and Kevin Garnett would be traded at the trade deadline in 2015. The Nets' entire roster would get blown up and the franchise had no draft capital to rebuild. The Celtics would reap from the benefits of the 2013 trade and would use the Nets' draft picks to draft Jaylen Brown in 2016 and Jason Tatum in 2017. 2 current All-Stars on the Celtics who just made their first trip to the NBA Finals in 2022 and also beat the Nets in the playoffs this year. Damn, Brooklyn, you hate to see it. At least y'all ain't make the same mistake twice. Oh, never mind. At number 4, I had the New York Knicks signing Joakim Noah back in 2016. In 2016, the salary cap was raised for the entire league, so a lot of players were getting some crazy contracts. The Knicks couldn't help themselves from doing the most. The Knicks would offer free agent Joakim Noah a 4-year, $72 million contract, expecting the 2014 Defensive Player of the Year to be a strong defensive presence they had been looking for. Unfortunately, that's not what would happen. Noah the season before had just went season-ending shoulder surgery, and injuries would begin to creep up for the once elite center. Noah would only play 46 games in his first season in the NYC, only averaging 5 points per game with below average defense, and in the following season would be released by the Knicks after only 7 games played. The Knicks have had to eat that contract for the past 2 years, but as of 2022, have currently finished paying Noah the remaining of his $72 million deal. Though Noah was complete ass in the Mecca, he still got to his money and secured the bag, so I can't hate. Coming in at number 5, I have the 76ers trading up to draft Markelle Fultz in the 2017 draft. The Nuggets weren't the only team to make a few blunders in the 2017 draft. The Sixers honestly made one of the worst draft night trades in NBA history when you think about what they could have had. The projected number 1 pick was Markelle Fultz, coming out of Washington, who was a Pac-12 Freshman of the Year, averaging close to 24 points per game. The Sixers owned the 3rd pick, while the Boston Celtics owned the 1st pick thanks to the Brooklyn Nets. The Sixers were so enamored with Fultz that they didn't want to miss out on drafting him, so they traded to the number 1 spot with the Celtics, trading their number 3 pick and a future first-round pick. The Sixers would draft Markelle Fultz, the guy that they wanted, but he would struggle in Philadelphia with injuries and would only play 33 games in 2 years before getting traded. The Lakers would draft Lonzo Ball with the 2nd pick, which was expected by every league scout, and with the 3rd pick, the Boston Celtics would draft Jason Tatum, who is currently a 3-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, and one of the best young players in the NBA right now. The Sixers could have added Jason Tatum to a core that included Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, which could have been one of the best young cores in the NBA. At number 6, I have a much recent contract signing, and it's the Washington Wizards re-signing Bradley Beal. I'm gonna make this short, because it was just signed and we don't know what can happen in the future, but the Wizards didn't give themselves much breathing room with this deal. The Wizards re-signed Bradley Beal on a 5-year, $251 million deal that includes a no-trade clause as well. Beal just got a major bag, so I'm not hating. I don't think he's a top 10 player or anything of that nature, but the man got paid, so it is what it is. But the Wizards basically are locked in on Beal for the next 5 years, and if they do decide to trade him one day, Bradley Beal has the option to deny any trade to any team he doesn't prefer, lowering what the Wizards can get back in return. All in all, I hope it works out for both parties, but the Wizards lost a lot of leverage in this deal just to keep Bradley Beal in Washington. At number 7, and this one pains me, is the Lakers trading for Russell Westbrook back in 2021. The Lakers in the summer of 2021, after losing in the first round, would gut their roster in depth by trading for Russell Westbrook, who still had 2 years left on his contract worth over $90 million. The Lakers would trade KCP and Kyle Kuzma, who were important championship pieces in their 2020 championship run. They would also trade Montrezl Harrell, including a 2021 first-round pick. Because of the amount of money left on Westbrook's deal, the Lakers weren't able to sign any quality free agents to their team, and they had to settle for players who were veterans on vet minimum deals. The Lakers had to rely on Russell Westbrook having a career year and the superstar duo of LeBron James and Anthony Davis to stay healthy for them to be contenders. But that all went to crud. The Lakers wouldn't even make the play-in, Westbrook would not have a good season by any measure, AD would be hurt all season, and LeBron had a supporting cast that honestly was buns. And now thanks to Westbrook and his contract, the Lakers are in a dilemma of trying to move Russell Westbrook even though his trade value is at an all-time low. I know the Lakers front office wish they could go back and undo trading for Russell Westbrook if they could. He's still a Hall of Famer though. Russ fans, don't kill me in the comment section. Coming in at number 8, we have the Detroit Pistons signing Josh Smith back in 2013. In 2013, the Pistons gave Josh Smith a 4-year, $54 million deal who would spend his first 8 years in Atlanta averaging 15 and 8. That same production wouldn't follow Josh Smith to Detroit though, as he only played at 105 games for Detroit in 1.5 seasons, eventually getting traded mid-season to the Houston Rockets. His efficiency would dip drastically in Detroit, switching from power forward to small forward, a position he wasn't used to. The Pistons, instead of looking for a trade in the market for Smith, decided to just straight up release bro. Josh Smith would still go on to still play in the NBA and had some memorable moments before his career was all said and done. Detroit, on the other hand, had to stretch out the remaining of Smith's contract through the 2019 NBA season before his deal was off their books. Our second to last worst signing is the Orlando Magic trading for Serge Ibaka back in 2016. Before the 2016 free agency began and KD and the Warriors broke the NBA, the Magic decided to acquire Serge Ibaka to pair up with Nikola Jokic to create a strong front court in Orlando. The Magic would trade their former number 2 overall pick in Victor Oladipo and their newly drafted rookie Domantas Sabonis and journeyman Ersan Ilyasova to obtain Serge Ibaka. Ibaka was a 2-time blocks leader and a 3-time all-defensive player, so you see what the Magic were looking for, a reliable front court defender. However, Ibaka would only last 56 games in Orlando and would be traded at the trade deadline to the Toronto Raptors. Ibaka had good numbers, averaging 15 and 7, but the Magic realized that with the growth of small ball and their packed front court, there were only so many minutes to give out. Oladipo and Sabonis, on the other hand, would end up as all-stars in their careers and would have been much better for the Magic to hold on to and develop instead of trading 2 high-value prospects for 56 games of Serge Ibaka. Before I get to the last worst offseason move, here are 2 honorable mentions that I wanted to add in as well. The Dallas Mavericks trading for Rajon Rondo. The Mavericks traded Jay Crowder, Jameer Nelson, Brandon Wright, a 2016 first-round pick, and a 2016 second-round pick for Rajon Rondo and Dwight Powell. Rondo would only play 46 games for the Mavericks and would walk in free agency the following season. The Mavs offense didn't improve, and there were reports of Rondo being a locker room cancer in Dallas. And the Charlotte Hornets signing Gordon Hayward back in 2020. The Hornets would sign Gordon to a 4-year, $120 million contract back in 2020. Not only had Hayward not made an All-Star team since 2017, he had only played 125 games in the past 3 years due to injury. And even though he's not a horrible player, his contract is one of the worst in the NBA right now due to his overall production not equating to his massive contract. And lastly, I have the Lakers signing Luol Deng back in 2016. To this day, this is still one of the most bizarre signings the NBA has ever seen. I saw y'all back in 2016, NBA general managers were just throwing away money. The Lakers would give Luol Deng a 4-year, $72 million deal, expecting him to be a glue guy and connector piece for an already young team. Instead, he would post career worst and would end up averaging close to 8 points per game in only 56 games in the following season. The Lakers would realize their mistake and would release Deng the next season, and like a lot of teams that have signed bad contracts, would be faced to stretch out Luol Deng's $72 million deal for years to come. Deng still had an exceptional career, making All-Star and All-Defensive teams, but his time in LA was just him stealing money from the Lakers, and the Lakers paying the price of giving out a bad contract. This concludes my 10 worst offseason NBA moves in the past 10 years. What do you guys think? What other moves did I forget to mention that you guys think were all-time blunders? Let me know in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe if you're new. Be sure to turn that post notification bell on so you never miss a video. Until next time, stay on beat.